Here, ladies and gentlemen, there is one thing every human being is equally given. Not wealth, not intelligence, not strength, but time. Each moment is slipping through our fingers like grains of sand, and the tragedy is, we don't even notice it. You are not running out of opportunities. You are running out of time. Time is not something you manage, it's something you are. You are not a body with time, you are time wrapped in a body. Every breath, every heartbeat, every blink is a tick on your life's clock. You say, I'm killing time. No, time is killing you. Look around. The world is filled with distractions dressed as desires. We waste years chasing approval, scrolling through endless digital illusions, getting angry over things that won't matter tomorrow. And in doing so, we miss life. You are not here forever. You don't have the luxury to waste time living someone else's life, proving your worth or waiting for the right time. The only right time is now. Ask yourself, what is it that truly matters to you? Is your time being spent in alignment with that? Or are you too busy being busy? You don't need more time, you need clarity. Once you know what you want to do, suddenly 24 hours becomes more than enough. Dear friends, life is not about stretching the length of your existence. It is about deepening the experience of your present. So stop wasting your time, not because someone told you to, but because this moment will never come back. Live with such intensity that time becomes your friend, not your executioner. Time is the only thing that life has distributed with perfect equality. No matter who you are, rich or poor, powerful or powerless, a king or a beggar, you wake up every day with the same 24 hours. It does not matter where you were born or how much you possess. Time does not favor anyone. It doesn't listen to your prayers. It doesn't stop because you are tired. See, it doesn't speed up because you're in a hurry. It flows, indifferent, untamed, and absolute. Yet we behave as though we are granted an unlimited supply of it. We spend our days like we have countless more waiting for us. But tell me, how can something so finite be treated so casually? People chase money, thinking it will buy them a better life. But money lost can be earned again. Health deteriorates, and even that, if you are fortunate, can be restored. But time, once spent, is gone forever. Not a second will return, not a single breath will replay itself. And still, we value the gold in our pockets more than the gold of a single, undisturbed moment. We protect our possessions, but we do not guard our time. We trade it cheaply for gossip, complaints, endless scrolling, and meaningless drama without realizing it is our most sacred currency. The clock does not tick in the background. It ticks within us. Each moment is not something we pass through. It is something we are. Time is not your companion. It is your very essence. You are not running out of it. It is running out of you. If we truly grasp this, even for a second, we would live with a fire in our hearts and silence in our minds. Every choice would become sacred. Every action would be deliberate. Because when you realize time is all you truly have, you stop giving it away to things that do not serve your soul. You speak of time as though it is somewhere out there, something separate from you. You say things like, I need to manage my time, or time is running out. But you must understand, time is not some external tool you carry around. Time is not in the clock on your wall, nor in the ticking watch on your wrist. Time is in you. You are not existing with time. You are existing as time. From the moment you are born, the clock does not start ticking outside of you. It begins within you. With the first breath, with the first beat of your heart, with the first flicker of consciousness, time begins to express itself through you. Your body is a clock made of flesh. Every cell that renews, every heartbeat, every thought that rises and falls. These are the hands of your inner clock turning. Quietly, precisely, unstoppably. People say time flies, but it is not time that flies. It is you who moves in the flow of life, carried by the current of this invisible force. When you are lost in joy, time seems to vanish. When you are stuck in suffering, it feels endless, but the flow of time is constant. What changes is your experience of it, your awareness, your presence, your intensity. The more you live unconsciously, the more you become a stranger to your own time. You lose connection with your own being. You start reacting, rushing, running, without knowing where you're headed. And the tragedy is, while you're busy chasing life, your life is quietly slipping past you. But if you pause, just pause, and truly feel, truly become aware of your breath, your presence, your heartbeat, your gaze, you will realize something profound. Time is not passing. Time is not moving. You are the passage. You are the movement. And when this sinks in, even for a moment, you begin to live differently. You speak with more intention. You listen more deeply. You no longer throw your hours away in mindless habit. You don't scroll through life, you experience it. If you see yourself merely as a body, time will always feel like a pressure. But if you realize that time is the very substance of your life, you begin to honor it like breath, something sacred, not to be wasted, but to be lived. You are not running out of time. Time is running through you. Every moment that slips by unnoticed is not just a passing second. It is a fragment of your life that is dissolved. You don't merely lose time. You lose yourself in it. People speak of wasting time as if it's a minor inconvenience, like losing a coin in the corner of a room. But what is wasted time if not a small death? You don't understand the gravity of a wasted moment until it is gone. Completely, irretrievably gone. The laughter you didn't share, the silence you didn't sit with, the truth you didn't speak, the passion you buried under routine. All of it, now resting in the graveyard of someday. And the graveyard of someday is the most crowded place on earth. You scroll through your days, distracted, disoriented, disconnected. You live in fragments, part of you in the past, part in the future, very little in the now. You tell yourself, I'm just passing time. But can you really pass time without it passing you? Look closely. Every wasted second is a life you did not live, a breath you did not feel, a possibility you did not touch. You may forget it, but time does not forget. It counts with precision. It doesn't argue, it doesn't warn, it just takes. Wasting time is not about sitting idle. You can sit in stillness and be completely alive. True waste is being unconscious. It is being so entangled in distractions, so drowned in noise that you forget the sheer miracle of being alive right now. In this breath, in this body, on this earth, you trade your moments for things that bring no nourishment to your soul. You occupy your days with busyness, but rarely with meaning. You confuse movement with progress. You mistake urgency for purpose. You spend hours chasing things but never stop to ask, is this what I truly want? Or is this just what I've been conditioned to want? Life is not asking for your perfection. It's asking for your presence. And every time you step away from that presence, every time you choose numbness over awareness, every time you let the moment slip by without touching it with your full being, you're not just wasting time. You're abandoning yourself. Time is not measured in clocks. It is measured in awareness. When you are unaware, even years pass without growth. But when you are fully conscious, even a moment can change your life. So be watchful, not in fear, but in reverence. This moment you are in, it will never come back. Not in this form, not in this feeling, not in this exact alignment. If you waste it, it is not time that loses, it is you. The world today is a festival of distractions, glittering and loud, always pulling, always calling. Every direction you turn, something demands your attention. Notifications, opinions, comparisons, endless waves of noise disguised as connection. And we unknowingly mistake this constant stimulation for a meaningful life. You are not lazy. You are simply lost in a maze that was never designed to set you free. You are surrounded by desires you didn't create, ambitions that were whispered into your ears by the world, and standards that have nothing to do with your spirit. But the tragedy is, while you're busy chasing all these, your time, your most sacred offering, is being drained. The distraction is subtle. It doesn't come with alarms or red flags. It enters quietly through habits, routines, and expectations. A few minutes here, a few swipes there, a few endless thoughts about things that don't even belong to your inner world. And in the background, life continues, waiting silently, patiently. But you are not present for it. You confuse being busy with being purposeful. You think constant movement means you're making progress. But the question is not how fast you're moving. The question is, are you moving in the direction of your soul? We become so skilled at staying occupied that silence feels uncomfortable. We fear stillness because it reflects the truth back at us. In that silence, we are forced to see where our time is really going, and more importantly, why. But instead of sitting with that truth, we reach for another distraction, another numbing habit, another thing to do. And just like that, another hour is gone. There is a cost to unconscious living. It doesn't appear on a receipt, doesn't make noise, but it shows up in your sense of emptiness, your lack of peace, your forgotten dreams. That dull ache in your chest, that feeling of missing something, is not a problem to be fixed. It is a message your life is asking you to return. When you give your time to things that do not align with your essence, you are not just distracted, you are divided. You are split between the truth of who you are and the noise of who the world wants you to be. And in this division, your time is not just wasted, it is scattered. To waste time is to misplace your attention, to give your life to what does not feed your soul. And the more you feed distraction, the more distant you become from yourself. This world does not need more information. It needs more awareness. It needs more presence. And presence begins the moment you reclaim your time. Not by adding more to your life, but by subtracting everything that doesn't belong. We are always waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the right circumstances, waiting for the stars to align, for the world to calm down, for fear to disappear. We say, not now, maybe later. I'll begin when I'm ready, but understand this clearly. The right time is an illusion, a comfortable lie we tell ourselves to delay the discomfort of becoming alive. There is no right time, there is only this time. You have been taught to believe that life must be perfectly arranged before you act, that clarity must come before the first step, that confidence must precede the leap. But life does not work like that. The path does not appear before the journey begins. The courage is not there before the action. It is forged through it, and so you wait. And while you wait, life continues. Not cruelly, not angrily, just naturally. Time does not pause out of sympathy. It does not slow down for your doubts. It keeps moving with quiet certainty, regardless of your indecision. This waiting has a cost. You may not see it in a single day, but it shows itself over years, in the dreams that turned into regrets, in the talents you buried beneath excuses, in the life you could have lived but didn't. Not because you couldn't, but because you kept postponing your own becoming. People think fear is what holds them back, but most of the time, it is not fear. It is the belief that they have time, that tomorrow is promised, that there will always be another chance. But time is not obligated to give you another try, and life is not waiting for your permission to move forward. The next day is not guaranteed. The next hour is not yours yet. All that you truly possess is this breath, this heartbeat, this flicker of awareness in this very moment. And what you do with it is not just a choice. It is a declaration of how much your life matters to you. You must understand perfection is not the beginning of the journey. It is the result of commitment, of repetition, of action. You do not wait to be perfect to begin, you begin to become. So stop waiting. Stop negotiating with time. Stop delaying your own truth because the world hasn't improved it yet. The door you're waiting to open, it opens inward. The timing you're hoping for, it begins with you. The sign you're seeking, it's already inside your longing. What you're waiting for is not coming from the outside. It's waiting for you to stop waiting. People say they don't have enough time. They look at their overflowing schedules, their endless to-do lists, the constant noise around them, and they believe the answer is more time. If only I had an extra hour in the day. If only the week was longer. If only I could pause everything for a while. But the problem is not the amount of time. The problem is the absence of clarity. You see, when you don't know what truly matters to you, everything begins to feel urgent. Everything demands your attention. Everything pulls at your energy. You spread yourself so thin trying to please everyone. Do everything, be everywhere. But in the end, you are nowhere. You are present everywhere but fully alive nowhere. Time without clarity becomes chaos. It is not the clock that overwhelms you. It is the confusion within you. You are not tired because you have done too much. You are tired because you have done too much of what doesn't align with who you are. And that disconnection is what drains your soul. When you become clear, truly clear, about what you want, about what truly moves you, what nourishes you, what reflects your deepest truth, then life simplifies itself. You stop running after every noise. You stop saying yes to what doesn't feel right. You stop getting pulled into meaningless urgency. And suddenly, the same 24 hours feels spacious. Clarity is not something you wait for. It is something you create. You create it by becoming still, by stepping out of the storm of noise and returning to the silence within you. You create it by asking the questions you've been avoiding. What am I really doing with my life? What am I chasing? Whose approval am I living for? When those questions become real to you, not just thoughts, but living inquiries, then the fog begins to lift. The path may still be long, but now it is visible. You no longer walk in circles, you move with direction, with purpose. Clarity is not about knowing every detail of the future. It is about knowing who you are right now and acting from that place with honesty. From there, the smallest action becomes powerful. The simplest task becomes sacred, because now your time is no longer being spent blindly. It is being offered consciously. You don't need more hours in the day. You need fewer distractions and deeper alignment. Because when you are aligned with what truly matters, even a single moment holds the weight of a lifetime. You were not born to merely exist. You were not placed here just to survive the days, meet expectations, and repeat routine. Life is not a mechanical cycle to be endured. It is a raw, sacred opportunity to create, to express, to touch the world with the fragrance of who you are. And yet, somewhere along the way, most forget this. They become passive recipients of life rather than active creators. They wait to be given permission, to speak, to dream, to change. They wait for someone to hand them purpose, as though it comes wrapped in a box with a neat label that says, "This is who you are." But purpose is not a gift to be received. It is a fire to be lit. It is not found in books. It is not granted by others. It is something you uncover by living deeply, by engaging fully with the life in front of you. It is found in the quiet ache you feel when you're not being honest with yourself, in the thrill that stirs when you do something that feels utterly true, in the gentle, persistent voice within that keeps saying, "This is not all you are." Purpose is not a job title or a goal or an identity. It is the alignment between your being and your doing. It is when your actions reflect your essence. It is when your time is not just being used, it is being offered to something greater than comfort, greater than ego, greater than survival. You don't need to know your entire destiny. You just need to stop wasting time doing things that numb you, dilute you, fragment you. Even if you do not yet know where you're going, you always know what feels real and what doesn't. Start there, trust that. When you begin to live with purpose, even in the smallest gestures, something shifts. Time itself begins to respond differently. It no longer slips away quietly. It begins to stretch. It begins to expand. Because purpose brings presence. And presence slows down the way you experience life. One meaningful hour lived in purpose is worth more than 100 empty days. You don't have to change the whole world, but you are called to change your world. From within, to stop handing over your hours to things that do not reflect the truth of your being. To stop living someone else's life while yours waits quietly in the background. You are not a machine, you are a possibility. And every moment you live without purpose, that possibility diminishes. Not because it disappears, but because you forget it's there. There is a silent pressure that moves through the world, an invisible current pushing people to always be in motion, faster, busier, louder, as if stillness were laziness, as if rest were weakness, as if taking a moment to breathe meant falling behind in some imaginary race. But what race, and toward what? You see, there is a difference between movement and momentum. A river may rush with purpose, but a storm can spin wildly and go nowhere. Much of what people call being productive is just chaos dressed up as importance. They tick boxes, meet deadlines, chase goals, yet remain deeply unfulfilled, because speed without awareness leads not to fulfillment, but to exhaustion. What we often call ambition is sometimes just escape. Escape from the silence, from the discomfort of confronting our truth, from the weight of our own questions. So we stay busy, Not because we are alive, but because we are afraid to feel how empty that busyness really is. But life is not asking you to be in constant motion. It is asking you to be awake in whatever you do. A single step taken in awareness is worth more than 100 made in unconscious repetition. It's not about how much you do. It's about how deeply you are there when you do it. When you are truly present, you don't waste time, because even the smallest act becomes meaningful. Drinking tea, watching the rain, helping someone, creating something, laughing from the belly, sitting in silence. These are not distractions from life. These are life. These are life. You must learn to pause, not out of fatigue, but out of reverence. To step back, not because you're giving up, but because you're remembering what truly matters. Real productivity does not mean doing more. It means wasting less of your life on what doesn't nourish your being. When you act from this space of clarity and presence, even your rest becomes powerful. Your silence becomes transformative. Your smallest offering becomes sacred. Because now, time is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you honor. And in that honoring, the quality of your life shifts. You no longer live as a machine following schedules. You live as a conscious being shaping your reality with intention. Regret is not a loud thing. It does not shout. It does not arrive with thunder. It is a whisper, steady and quiet, that grows louder in the spaces where life was not lived fully. It comes not from what happened, but from what didn't. The words left unspoken, the dreams left untouched. The moments that were right in front of you, but slipped through your fingers because you thought you had more time. You don't fear death, not truly. What you fear is reaching the end and realizing that you never really lived, that you mistook comfort for peace, that you confused survival with purpose, that you waited too long to be who you were meant to be, that you spent your life preparing, but never stepping in. And this is the most tragic illusion of all, that you had time. The moments you are rushing through now, the days you treat as disposable, the hours you numb with distractions. These are the same moments you will one day look back on and realize they were everything. You will remember the feeling in your chest when you stood at the edge of a decision and walked away. You will remember the people you loved but never told. The art you carried in your heart but never made. The life you dreamed of but never claimed. Time doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't wait for you to be fearless. It doesn't consult your plans. It moves forward, with or without your permission. And each day that passes without presence, without purpose, without full engagement, is a day that becomes memory without meaning. You think regret comes from failure, but failure is just part of life. Real regret comes from the hesitation that kept you frozen, the waiting, the postponing, the pretending. You told yourself one day, I will begin, but one day is not a date on the calendar. It is a lie dressed as hope. You were not born to live safely inside the walls of what-ifs. You were not given breath to waste it in hesitation. The very fact that you can feel this truth rising inside you, that there is more to you than what you are living, that is life knocking at your door, again and again asking, are you ready now? And yet you scroll past it, you silence it, you cover it with tasks and distractions, but it never leaves, it waits. Not outside of you, but inside. It waits behind your doubts, behind your fears, behind your excuses. It waits for you to stop avoiding the truth that you already know. This is your life. No one is coming to live it for you. No one can walk your path. No one else has your fire, your voice, your longing. And the day will come when there is no more time to delay, no more time to prepare, no more time to fix what was left undone. And on that day, what will matter most is not what you acquired, not what people thought of you, not the titles or the things. What will matter is how deeply you lived, how bravely you loved, how honestly you showed up in your own skin. So don't wait till the end to realize what could have been. Don't let regret become the only proof that something inside you is once alive. Let the awareness of your mortality bring you to life, not as a fear, but as a fierce clarity. Not to rush, but to awaken. Because in the end, it's not death that is the enemy of life, it is regret. Every single day without fail, you are offered something priceless. Not in money, not in possessions, but in time. You awaken into a new cycle of breath, thought, feeling, and choice. And what you do with it, how you respond, how you engage, determines the shape of your life. The day does not ask for perfection. It does not demand greatness. It simply asks, will you show up? Not halfway, not in distraction, not buried beneath fear, but fully here, now in this very breath. You don't need a grand plan to begin. You don't need everything to be in order. You don't even need to feel ready. What you need is to recognize the value of this moment, because this moment is not just a tick on the clock. It is a portal, a gateway, a sacred space where change can begin. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances align, but now. The stories you've been telling yourself, the ones that say you're not capable, not worthy, not ready, those are just echoes of the past. They do not belong to this moment. This moment is unburdened. It carries no judgment, no memory. It only asks, what will you choose now? And in truth, that's all life ever is. A series of choices in the now. Small choices, quiet choices, sometimes invisible to the world, but powerful. Choosing to breathe consciously instead of rushing. Choosing to speak truth instead of hiding. Choosing to rest instead of performing. Choosing to begin the thing you've delayed for years. Choosing to forgive. Choosing to love. Choosing to finally, unapologetically live. Every wasted day begins with the thought that today doesn't matter. That one more hour spent drifting won't change anything. But every meaningful life is built only from these days, only from these hours, these quiet, ordinary moments where you decide, I will not abandon myself today. Stop looking for the perfect moment to start. That moment is a myth. Start now, not because conditions are ideal, but because life is happening with or without you. And if you miss this moment, you will miss the only place where real transformation can occur. The future you long for, the peace you crave, the success you imagine, they are not found somewhere far ahead. They are built in this moment by the way you touch it, the way you honor it, the way you treat it like something sacred, because it is. And yes, there will be fear, there will be uncertainty. But what's the alternative? Another year spent sleepwalking, another dream buried under routine. Another version of you shrinking inside a shell that no longer fits. You don't need more inspiration. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign. This is the sign. This breath, this sentence, this awareness, this is the universe leaning in, gently asking, will you begin today? So begin. Begin not with force, but with sincerity. Begin not with pressure, but with presence. Begin not because everything is perfect, but because you are done waiting for perfection. Your life is not a rehearsal. You're already on the stage. The curtains are up, the lights are on. And time, silent, sacred, relentless, is watching you carry a story inside you. A quiet one. Not the story the world sees. Not the resume, not the social profile, not the surface narrative that's shaped by expectation. I'm speaking of the deeper story, the one that lives beneath the noise. The one that speaks when everything else falls silent. The one that tells you, there is more to you than this. And yet so often, you ignore that voice. You silence it with distractions. You cover it with productivity, with responsibilities, with what others expect of you. You become so entangled in the roles you play that you forget the presence behind them. You forget who you are when the lights go off, when the applause fades, when there is no one left to impress. But no matter how far you drift from that story, your truth never leaves. It waits, it watches, it whispers. And sometimes in the quietest of moments, it breaks through. A sudden feeling in the chest, a longing that makes no logical sense. A tear that comes from nowhere. A pull towards something undefined, something forgotten but not lost. That pull is your soul trying to remember itself. You don't need to create a new version of yourself. You don't need to become something you're not. What you truly need is to return. Return to the place within you that is already whole, already aware, already at peace. The part of you that was never broken, only buried. We live in a world obsessed with becoming, with chasing, with achievement. And there is beauty in growth. Yes, but understand this. Real growth is not about accumulation. It's about remembering. It's about peeling away everything that is false, so what is true can finally breathe again. And when you begin to remember who you are, not just intellectually, but viscerally, you begin to live differently. You stop seeking validation because your worth is no longer negotiable. You stop performing because your existence is no longer a stage. You stop racing time because you realize you are time. And when you are present, life moves with you, not against you. The journey back to yourself is not a loud one. It is quiet, gentle, sometimes painful. It requires the courage to sit in stillness, to feel what you've been avoiding, to witness the stories you've inherited but no longer serve. It requires you to be honest, not with the world, but with yourself. And in that honesty, something powerful happens. You reclaim your life. Not the external version others have shaped for you, but the inner life that was always yours. You begin to live from the inside out, and suddenly the world shifts, not because it changes, but because you are now fully present within it. This is not about reaching some spiritual peak or perfect state. It's not about becoming enlightened. It's about becoming real, fully unapologetically awake in your own being. No masks, no roles, just presence, just breath, just being. You are not here to endlessly chase. You are not here to prove. You are here to remember, and in that remembrance live.